objectives. And this ambition is at the core of this Commission's agenda, and as it's also been recalled by the recent joint European Commission External Action Service communication entitled Renewed Partnership with the Southern Neighborhood. Timing is also good because the launch of this project happens when the Commission and the External Service are designing regional and bilateral cooperation projects for the next 7 years. We've been supporting energy efficiency measures in the industry for almost all the Southern Neighborhood for the past decade, mainly through NIP programs with international financial institutions and European financial institutions. And we're now focusing to another big energy consuming sector in the region, which is building. And when you start working on buildings, the next thing that comes in mind is, of course, appliance sector. Programming EU funds follows the policy-first approach and calls for joint programming, where the EU and other donors, financial institutions, and financiers contribute together to the same activities. And we hope that this meetMED 2 will inspire other key stakeholders and pave the way for new initiatives similar to the European renovation, to the renovation wave that we've had in the EU, presented by the Commission last October in the framework of the European Green Deal. In this spirit, we monitor with great interest le programme d'efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments, which is currently being implemented by AFD and GIZ in Morocco and Tunisia. But it's not, energy efficiency is not only about climate action and saving energy. We believe that the promotion and massive deployment of energy efficiency measures in the building will trigger new value chains and generate job opportunities in the long run. Therefore, we encourage partner governments, private companies, and the civil society to seize the opportunities that meetMED offers, to integrate the massive amount of expertise deployed through the project, and from here to switch to more efficient and low emission buildings and appliance sector, and hopefully to disseminate and scale up the experiences. Allow me to conclude by wishing a very fruitful day. I will be looking forward to this session to produce meaningful outputs and good hints for all the participants. So I wish you a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dotto. We see very high expectations for meetMED 2, and it will be a challenge, but I would like to introduce now Mr. Garditi, so the Director of Department of Energy Technologies and Renewable at ENEA, the Italian Agency for Energy Management, and involved in several IEA tasks. He's since April 2019 the president of MEDENER, so MEDENER, the Association of the Mediterranean Agencies for Energy Management in the region, who is in charge of meetMED implementation. Mr. Garditi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Mr. Dotto, for the introduction. Good morning. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet in person for this important event due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but we will do our best as we are in a real room discussing the main goals of meetMED 2 project. It's a pleasure and honor for me open the discussion, and I am pleased to welcome those of you that have been with us for a long time now, as well as those who are new to the meetMED community. Today marks officially the beginning of phase 2 of the meetMED project, and we are proud to be able to host it here today, thanks to this virtual space with all of you, to share the next steps in the path of energy transition in the Mediterranean region. Before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously helped us make this new project come together, and we are sure to become a success story. During the phase 1 of the meetMED project, thanks to the fruitful partnership between MEDENER and RCREEE, one of our main achievements was to establish the regional expert network that has been working hard for almost 3 years, bringing concrete results in renewable energy and energy efficient sectors. As you may already know, the meetMED regional expert network gathers energy experts from energy governmental agency and department of 14 Mediterranean countries. This network is a unique initiative in the region that is going to be structured in meetMED 2 with the aim to facilitate a faster energy transition in the Mediterranean countries, considering the widespread presence of the territories, Mediterranean region in general and the target countries in particular, the level of expertise displayed, and the high-tech professional background of the experts. MEDENER and RCREEE are key contributors of the Union for the Mediterranean Renewable Energy Efficiency Platform, and the meetMED 2 project's outcomes will help to achieve the platform results. Renewable energy and energy efficiency are the strategical sectors for energy transition and for climate action in the Mediterranean region. With this regard, I would like to highlight that according to the European Union Energy Strategy Agenda, we all need to have a deeper look at the smart sector integration, that is the grounding concept underlying a successful transformation involving coordinated planning and operation of the electricity system with other mutually interacting systems. The smart sector integration aims to better link the different energy sectors, electricity, gas, building, transport, industry, and so on, to help them reduce carbon emissions, looking at the neutral climate. This means replacing fossil fuels with renewable electricity or with other renewable and low carbon fuels where electrification is not possible, while ensuring that energy remains secure and affordable. An hybrid energy system of both electricity and gas with cross-border energy carriers infrastructure as a backbone will result in increased flexibility, storage, and security of supply. So the interconnection of the European gas and electricity sectors, which includes TCO and DCO infrastructure, the penetration and integration of renewables and the new energy vectors, such as hydrogen, in the grid and to end users are essential to enable us to meet 2030 and 2050 climate targets as part of the European Union Green Deal. So I would like to take this opportunity to reaffirm our willingness to address also those topics within MEDENER in close collaboration with RCREEE to increase and strengthen our role as a prior bridge to create new opportunities, projects, and initiatives in the energy framework of the region. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time for the meeting, and I would like to give now the floor to my esteemed colleague, Margaret Mahmoud, of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy Efficiency, RCREEE. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the meeting. And I leave the floor to Alicia for the next step. Thank you much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Graditi. And now let me introduce Dr. Margaret Mahmoud, so Executive Acting Director of RCREEE, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. So after a career in the Egyptian New and Renewable Energy Authority, he has joined RCREEE, where he played a key role in formulating renewable energy strategies and introducing respective implementation mechanisms focusing on increased reliance on the private sector. Dr. Mahmoud, the floor is yours for giving us some opening words.
Thanks, Alicia, and thanks Dr. Stefano Dotto and Dr. Giorgio Gradetti for the welcoming remarks. In fact, you have reflected a lot of the ideas that we stress on, but on behalf of RCREEE team, it is my pleasure to welcome you all, our distinguished partners, speakers, and guests to the online kickoff meeting of meetMED Phase 2 project. I'd like to start with thanking the European Commission for their support and our close partner MEDENER for their very fruitful collaboration. In fact, RCREEE welcomes the European Commission communication issued last February on the renewed partnership with the southern neighborhood and its new agenda for the Mediterranean. We value the European Commission support to the meetMED project to help our partner countries and our, in fact, the Mediterranean region to secure and decarbonize their energy systems and to enhance the climate resilience while ensuring positive socio-economic impacts. RCREEE with MEDENER and the beneficiary countries, governments and institutions will address issues of vital importance as you have reflected, and as you will see today also in the presentations of the experts of the project. We will focus, of course, on energy efficiency in building and appliances sector while exerting efforts on de-risking investment and leveraging on innovative business models. These are some of the issues that we, in fact, try to capitalize on in the second phase, and we'll do our best to collaborate and synergize with other regional initiatives and projects. Many of them are with us today, speaking on different sessions, so thanks for accepting our invitation to be with us today. My deep thanks also and appreciation to the Commission and MEDENER, and hopefully we'll meet the expectations and ambitions of our countries, supporting them in their efforts toward green recovery and clean energy transition. I wish all of us a very successful kickoff meeting. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very good day. Thank you. Alicia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Radia Sidawi. Can you switch off your mic, please? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Maged. So thank you. Now we will go on with our first session, and I will give the talk to Ashraf Khaidi, who will moderate the session of the session 1 on regional and country priorities. Just to update on the agenda, there will be 3 sessions. The first on country priorities, the second giving you an overview on the work of the project and the work packages, and finally a third session with a roundtable on regional initiatives. Ashraf.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be today among all of the esteemed colleagues and participants who are keen to continue following up the activities of the meetMED project. We are so delighted that we were successful to move from the meetMED 1 to the meetMED 2 as a continuous to our activities in the meetMED 1, who lasted for like 1.5 years, and it showed the meaning of cooperation and coordination between the North and the South from one side, and the South-South cooperation from the other side, which is one of the vital factor for the future success in the field of energy in general and sustainable energy in specific. So in our session, we are going to highlight on this issue related to the regional priorities and how this regional priority interconnect with the country's priorities. This is one of the topics that is very important to focus on. And we as RCREEE, since we started working at a regional level, this was on the top of our agenda, how to be able to meet the country's priorities by regional activities that can positively affect all of the countries working on different activities. From this perspective, the design of the meetMED project have been established, taking into consideration this basic information about the country's priorities, and this is from where we started. We did a survey with all the countries. We collected information about the priorities they are seeking for in their agendas, and we transformed these priorities to be designed later on at a regional project, which is the meetMED phase 2. I'm honored to have with me today a very distinguished panelists. They are representing regional and national backgrounds, and please allow me to start with Dr. Nouri El-Qashrawi. Dr. Nouri, now he is an advisor to the Energy Department of the League of Arab States, supported by the German Cooperation and the Ministry of Environment, together with RCREEE. Dr. Nouri is an associate professor in mechanical engineering, and he received his PhD from Aachen University in Germany in 2007. Dr. Nouri has several years of experience working with the national and international partner in the fields of energy policies and strategies, as well as in setting up energy efficiency and renewable energy programs, energy audits, and energy management system. And he has also conducted many techno-economic feasibility studies for the implementation of energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. Dr. Nouri, we are happy to have you here with us. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. And also thank you, Mr. Ashraf, for the introduction. I want to start actually to give a brief description of our activities and our tasks in the League of Arab States, actually in the energy departments in the League of Arab States. Also, I want to mention here that I am here actually on behalf to Engineer Jamila Matar, is the head of the department. And I want to, at the beginning, give a brief introduction on the activities and to the tasks what done in the department. Actually, the energy department in the League of Arab States pays great attention to the development of the renewable energy and energy efficiency sectors in the Arab countries. Whereas during the past years, a number of studies and documents and projects have been prepared and developed in this field, including are developed in this field actually in cooperation with RCREEE, which is we can say the RCREEE is the technical arm for the League of Arab States since long time. I will give, for example, some example of documents and studies are prepared in this regard. We prepared the Arab Sustainable Energy Strategies, which is for the Arab Sustainable Energy Strategies, which is for the years 2014 to 2030. Also, the Arab Guiding Framework for Electrical Energy Efficiency, several national programs and plans for energy efficiency and for renewable energy. Also, in the League of Arab States, but not directly to the energy department, codes where is prepared for the Arab countries under the supervision of the housing and Disaster Mitigation Department, which is another department in the belongs to the sector, the economic sector in the League of Arab States. Also, since long time, which is one of the actually major tasks are now in League of Arab States in the energy department, is the establishing the Pan-Arab electricity market, which is of course this market, and after the establishing this market, I think this is also will lead to increase the electricity or energy efficiency in the electricity sector. The energy department, after establishing all these documents, also monitors the development of renewable energy in the Arab countries through the Arab Renewable Energy Framework, and also through the monitoring reports every, I think, will be 5 years, and also through direct contact with the Arab countries to give great assistance to these countries. In addition to the all above tasks, we have also very close to the Arab countries, helping them through the capacity buildings in different sectors, in energy efficiency and renewable energy, also in how to financing these projects. In this year, at the beginning of this year, actually, and with the cooperation with the RCREEE and GIZ, the energy efficiency platform in Arab region were established, and this platform includes this platform for the energy efficiency started with different workshops and different work streams. Of course, the task is and the objective is to help the Arab countries in different sectors, technicality and financing of the energy efficiency projects, and how to improve the implementation of the energy efficiency in different sectors in Arab countries. And now I will come to the question of Mr. Ashraf regarding the priorities actually in the region or in the countries. Last renewable energy and energy efficiency expert meeting, we are in the League of Arab States talking a lot about the air conditioning. Actually, the air conditioning in the Arab region is one of the highest demand sector or highest demand appliances that used in the most of Arab countries. For example, according to the International Energy Report, the share of the air conditioning to the peak load in the 2016 in Arab region is around 22%. And this will be increased to about more than 30%, something around 32% in 2050. So the air conditioning is one of the actually sectors that need to be addressed deeply and also technically to help the Arab countries to use the benefits of the technologies what's now in the air conditioning for to be as an efficient devices. For example, there's several also activities where the Arab countries now is going very well for energy efficiency, which is achieved. For example, switching the lighting from normal lamps to the LED lamps, which is now a very good achievement in most of Arab countries. For example, when I am talking about Libya now, the last year, the very big difference, I don't have the numbers actually about the savings or how many lamps changed, but we can see it's from the first reports, a huge quantities of lamps are changed from normal one to the LED lamps. But still, and this is of course a very good achievement, because this is also a priority, and it is very cheap priority actually. But the question is, still we have a problem in several countries. In addition to the instability in these countries, we have a problem of the shortage of electricity. And most of this shortage of electricity, for example, in Libya, is coming from the air conditioning. For example, in spring and in autumn, the electricity is okay. We don't have a shortage in electricity in that severe case, but in summer and in winter, we have this. In summer, we can, due to the using of air conditioning, and this is, I want to concentrate about this, the shortage of electricity goes to more than 10 hours, or sometimes even 14 hours. And mostly is coming from the air conditioning. So, and the air conditioning, because there's no regulations to importing the efficient systems, and this is air conditioning. The systems where it's are in the market are not efficient at all, and also sometimes is not that from the original sources. This makes the problem is worse. This is one thing regarding the priorities. I want also to mention that in the energy efficiency priorities, I think continuing low fuel prices prolong the payback period for the building energy efficiency upgrades. So I think the energy prices in the region is not that in the, not on the all countries, of course. We have a spectrum prices between in the Arab region, a big difference in the energy prices from country to the another country, but in general, still the fuel prices makes the energy efficiency projects not feasible at all if it's continuing like that. Also, I think this is also a problem to the instability in stable countries. You know, energy service companies in several it's not really energy service companies, but where the companies working in this field actually lost a lot last years in these countries to the instability, and this is of course makes the energy efficiency is not feasible at all for these companies and for the market in these countries. Another point is the energy efficiency in the electricity sector. Actually, this is one positive point, because for several countries now switching from another fuels, I mean from light fuel or from heavy fuel, oil, and or from coal to gas, which is a very good achievement, because gas, of course, even is less harmless to the climate, but also more efficient to use gas instead of another types of fuel. And this is a very good achievement in several countries, from Gulf countries to the Maghreb and Mashriq countries, switching from conventional fuel, between the conventional fuel to the gas, which is actually, I see this as a very good achievement, regardless the energy efficiency of the in electricity sector and power plants. And last point I want to talk here about our targets in the League of Arab States in next years is to focus and to concentrate on the energy efficiency. Actually, the energy efficiency in the Arab countries is not that, we don't have the achievement like the renewable energy. In renewable energy, and now with most of the Arab countries working hardly and implementing huge projects, also there's very good success stories in this regard, but energy efficiency is still far away from even the targets, where is voted from the countries itself. For example, most of the Arab countries now, they have national energy efficiency action plans, but the targets written in these plans are not achieved till now. And I think this is, of course, a problem. As I said before, maybe this is to the energy prices in the countries, makes this is not feasible. Also, still we need to put more efforts to how to help and establish the ESCOs companies in these countries, and how to finance the energy efficiency projects in Arab region. Thank you for time, and please, Ashraf, floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Nouri. Actually, the League of Arab States has and is the strategic partner that we as RCREEE have the privilege to work closely with them since we started the work in 2009. And we were able together to upscale the work we have been doing all of this time at the ministerial level, and also to convert what is needed into decisions to be taken at the ministers level to be implemented in the Arab states, all of them. And I believe this is one of the key factors we need to focus on in the future, also to say, give the legitimacy to our work, and to move from the technical part to the policy and decision-making process is very essential. And also, I would like to thank Dr. Nouri for the focusing on the air conditioning, which is really one of the main consumers that till now have not had a clear solution to deal with. So apart from energy efficient air conditioning through the labeling program, we have not reached a solution to fight this decreasing consumption of the air conditioning systems in the region, in the South region. And I think it's not anymore a priority for only the South region, but also the North region. We witnessed in the few last years very high temperatures in the North, in Europe, and more consumption directed to air conditioning. Thanks a lot, Dr. Nouri. And now, please allow me to move to Mr. Fathi Al-Hanshi. Mr. Fathi Al-Hanshi is our partner and our friend and colleague. He is the General Director of ANEMI. So Mr. Fathi has been the Director of the Division of the Rational Use of Energy at ANEMA, such as he has been in charge of the management and coordination of energy efficiency programs and activities in the tertiary residential building and transport sector in Tunisia. So Mr. Al-Hanshi has in his portfolio the supervision on different national programs in the energy efficiency in the public sector, energy efficiency conventions with the local authorities, as well as national and Mediterranean cooperation projects. Mr. Al-Hanshi graduated in mechanical engineering and has more than 19 years of experience in energy efficiency. And he has been actively involved in energy sector reform in Tunisia and contributed in designing, implementation, and evaluation energy efficiency programs in the country. And also his input sounded and still sounding at the regional level, as most of the countries in the region took the advantage to learn from the Tunisian experience in the field of energy efficiency. Mr. Hanshi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ashraf, and I thank all of the and I will speak French because it's bonjour à tous, bonjour à toute l'équipe du RCREEE, de l'Union européenne, du MEDENER. Je vais intervenir aujourd'hui pour parler un peu de la situation en Tunisie et notre proposition pour une approche régionale d'intervention. Au fait, comme vous le savez, la Tunisie a instauré l'efficacité énergétique depuis longtemps. Donc, nous avons publié la première loi sur les économies d'énergie en septembre 1985, avec bien sûr l'obligation de certaines activités dans le domaine de l'efficacité énergétique. Et c'est pour cela que certaines activités ont été ici et un tissu industriel et de services a été instauré, a bien sûr contribué à générer beaucoup d'économies liées à des mesures d'efficacité énergétique. Selon les dernières évaluations réalisées en 2020, nous avons réalisé presque des économies de 1,2 million de TEP en 2000 par rapport au niveau de consommation enregistré en 2010. Donc, pratiquement, nous avons enregistré 11% d'économie d'énergie. Et donc, les actions de maîtrise de l'énergie sont des actions qui aidaient beaucoup à réduire la demande énergétique. Il y a beaucoup d'autres activités à relancer afin de profiter et d'exporter au mieux le potentiel d'économie d'énergie. Parmi les activités qui nécessitent vraiment le renforcement et qui nécessitent aussi d'avoir une approche régionale d'intervention, c'est l'activité des équipements électroménagers. Et je crois qu'il faut aller au-delà des équipements électroménagers, plutôt il faut aller aux équipements qui ont un impact direct et indirect sur la consommation d'énergie, étant donné que des équipements qui ne consomment pas de l'électricité ou ne consomment pas de l'énergie, mais qui ont un impact sur la consommation d'énergie, c'est-à-dire tel que défini par la réglementation européenne. Donc, je crois que cette activité-là nécessite vraiment une intervention régionale, décloisonnée, de profiter au mieux des résultats qu'on pourrait avoir. Pour l'électroménager, je crois que l'uniformisation de la réglementation et des normes, ça va permettre de réduire l'impact du marché informel. Et là, je dois vous rappeler que en Tunisie et dans le cadre d'une activité avec la Banque mondiale, qui a aussi fait participer le RCREEE, nous avons réalisé une enquête qui a permis de dresser de faire sortir des chiffres très importants. En fait, une enquête qui a été réalisée a permis de faire sortir qu'entre 2009 et 2013, 55% des climatiseurs commercialisés dans le marché tunisien étaient des climatiseurs de classe, avec une classe qui est fortement consommatrice d'énergie. Et là, même si on a instauré une bonne réglementation de la certification énergétique des équipements, si on n'a pas vraiment une bonne surveillance du marché et une intervention dans ce domaine-là, on n'aura pas le résultat attendu. Et donc, je crois que une intervention régionale qui prévoit une sorte de collaboration entre les pays afin d'uniformiser les normes et uniformiser l'approche d'intervention et même uniformiser l'étiquetage et les MEPS, ça va aider beaucoup à profiter au mieux des résultats de ce type de programme. Revenons à l'aspect efficacité énergétique. Je crois que ce type d'action, les actions réglementaires qui ne nécessitent pas vraiment un investissement, un grand investissement, sont les solutions les plus urgentes à laquelle de la Méditerranée. C'est très important de mentionner ça parce que le fait d'obliger la suppression la commercialisation d'un équipement, d'obliger le choix de certaines ça va donc désolé, j'ai été coupé. Donc le fait d'agir avec l'instrument réglementaire, un instrument vraiment facile à mettre en œuvre, qui nécessite juste une coordination, bien sûr, nationale et régionale, mais qui donne des résultats très intéressants. Là, je crois que l'expérience tunisienne pourrait aider beaucoup dans le projet meetMED, étant donné que certaines activités sont maintenant en cours d'évaluation ou en cours de rectification, mais je crois qu'on pourrait vraiment profiter de notre expérience pour diffuser les bonnes pratiques actualisées à l'échelle de la Méditerranée. Et bien sûr, à l'ANME, nous sommes vraiment engagés, nous sommes engagés avec vous dans ce processus-là. Pour finir, c'est vrai que les pays arabes sont bien engagés dans la démarche des énergies renouvelables et c'est bien sûr logique puisque il est plus facile d'agir sur ce secteur-là parce qu'il n'y a pas vraiment une multiplicité d'acteurs. Mais je crois que l'efficacité énergétique doit être bien prise en charge, étant donné qu'elle donne beaucoup plus de profit que les énergies renouvelables, les économies, quoi. Donc, c'est-à-dire donne plus un nouveau souffle pour les économies, surtout les économies en difficulté comme celle de la Tunisie. Je vous remercie pour cette occasion et je vous réitère l'engagement de la NME de la Tunisie dans ce projet-là et un grand remerciement à nos amis à l'Union européenne pour cet appui permanent dans la mise en œuvre des différentes stratégies. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks a lot, Mr. El-Hanchi, for your intervention. We all know that Tunisia was one of the leading countries in terms of energy efficiency in the region, and we all would like to closely cooperate and learn from the Tunisian experience in that regard. Now, please allow me to move to Egypt, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Muhammad Al-Khayyat. I actually am in my list. There is Egypt, but I'm not really sure if Dr. Muhammad Al-Khayyat will.
Yes, Dean Ashraf, I am Ihab Ismail on behalf of Dr. Al-Khayyat. Yes.
Okay.
It is my pleasure to participate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ihab, because the name says Dr. Muhammad Al-Khayyat. Okay. It's our pleasure to welcome Engineer Ihab Ismail, who is the Deputy of the National Renewable Energy, New and Renewable Energy Agency President. Mr. Ihab Ismail is one of the very active experts in the region in the field of renewable energy and energy efficiency. He has been working on this field for more than 20 years at NERIA, and he supervised the transformation from the traditional energy to the renewable energy in Egypt. Actually, we have to say that the development of renewable energy in Egypt recently is really distinguished. We are witnessing such like 4 gigawatt under construction and about 1.8 gigawatt are already connected to the grid. At the same time, the government are so much focusing on scaling up energy efficiency activities, and all of this are being implemented under the supervision of NERIA, and Mr. Ihab Ismail has a direct intervention to all of these projects. So, Engineer Ihab, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning all. Thank you, Ashraf, for this great introduction for me. Yes, let us talk about Egypt and what already achieved in renewable energy in Egypt. If we just only back 7 years ago, in 2014, at that time we talk about renewable energy as to accelerate or deployment for renewable energy in Egypt. It was a dream. Just talking about how to accelerate, how to encourage the private sector to participate in Egypt for renewable energy project. But maybe mainly based on the blackout at that time in 2014 and the shortage for the electricity, the government decided to increase the share for renewable energy significantly by issuing laws, regulations, and. Now, yes, as Ashraf said, we already, the installed capacity now in Egypt for renewable energy, about 6,000 megawatt, In the pipeline, yes, we talk about 4 gigawatt, yes, in the pipelines. Yani just only yesterday we signed the PPA, power purchase agreement, and the land use agreement for 200 megawatt for PV for this is with companies based on BOO schemes. Yeah, this is a tender just only yesterday. يعني also the impact of COVID-19 and what impact for the renewable energy, but we are working in signing contracts, signing agreements to deployment or accelerate renewable energy. By the way, our strategy up till now, the official strategy targeting to reach 42% by 2035. Now, we are working in updating this strategy to increase the share for renewable energy to increase by more than 50% must come from renewable energy by 2035. The consultant already starting the working to increase the share for renewable energy. And by the way, also the coal in our strategy will be replaced by renewable energy. This gives that we are go to increase the share for renewable energy, green energy, and decrease or reduce the carbon dioxide or the emissions also for this is for Egypt. Yes, we have an ambitious plan, and we are talking about adding many thousands of gigawatt. Yes, we know, or for megawatt by 2035. But I think we are not live in remote area. We are one country from alongside for the worldwide. What is the impact of COVID? What about the demand side? Yes, the supply side, yes, is ready, and we are still planning and implementing renewable energy project now. But is the problem now? What about the demand side? Based on the expectation, and what about for the growth rate for the electricity demand? What about? Yes, we need. Now we are working what is the growth rate in the next year? How many megawatt we need? But we are enough capacities now in Egypt. But what is the impact of COVID-19? This is what may be a big concern or a big headache for each one now who is planning for electricity or energy in general and renewable energy. This is what we are thinking now. Yes, again for by the way, also for renewable energy projects last year also we signed the contracts under implementation, some contract, and we are working on wind energy and solar PV energy. Now we are starting with hydrogen and how to transfer from energy to electricity to X or hydrogen. Now the committee already, ministerial committee headed by His Excellency the Prime Minister to for how to benefit from hydrogen, and here are we talking about green hydrogen. Here we are talking about green hydrogen, and also for the storage. And what about the how to benefit from renewable energy because it's a variable for PV or wind in the storage, and to reduce the cost, and to do that we need to benefit from the already existing capacities from renewable energy, wind and PV in the storage. This is what we are ready start now in Egypt. This is, and also for the electrical vehicle. A study already conducted between NAREA and funded by the EBRD, and how about the potential for electrical vehicle in Egypt, and how to start the scenarios, how to start, and what it will be. It is need from electricity or from the installed capacity from the electrical vehicle. Also for geothermal, now we are starting some pre-feasibility studies regarding to the geothermal in Egypt. Yes, we are working now, hardly working in the preparation for renewable energy project, but still, or the main issue for us will be the demand side, how to increase or raise the growth rate for the demand side. Thank you, Ashraf.
Thanks a lot, Ihab, for this very concise intervention. We are all actually following up the extreme development that Egypt is witnessing, and thanks to all the authorities who are involved in this development, mainly here NREEA and all the partners that are working hardly around the clock, together with the financing institutions all over the world, investors, and all the partners. Now we are moving back to the Maghreb countries. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ridwan Youssef. He is the head of energy efficiency in buildings in the Energy Efficiency Agency in Morocco, AMI. Mr. Ridwan is a certified energy manager, CEM, and also certified measurement and verification professional, CMVP, specialized in building, and also graduated from the University of Leuven in Belgium. He joined the Moroccan Agency for Energy Efficiency, AMI, in 2011 as a manager of energy efficiency in building. He was the coordinator of the regional program for the development of renewable energy and energy efficiency in the Orient of Morocco, led by ADERI and UNTP. And he is also a certified trainer in energy efficiency in building, and he supervised several master theses and studies. He is also the president of the Association of the Local Development and Environmental Protection. Mr. Ridwan, the floor is yours.
Bonjour, je vais m'exprimer en français. Merci Ashraf. Tout d'abord, je suis ravi et content de participer avec vous aujourd'hui lors de cet atelier de démarrage du meetMED 2 au nom de l'Agence marocaine de l'efficacité énergétique qui représente le Maroc. Donc, c'était un plaisir de participer au premier projet meetMED, aux activités du premier projet meetMED. Et là aussi, c'est un grand plaisir de contribuer, d'être partenaire de meetMED 2. Et là, avant que je commence, je vous exprime l'engagement de l'AME de participer, de faire réussir cette deuxième version du projet meetMED 2. Ashraf, là, en continuité avec les interventions précédentes, j'aimerais bien partager avec vous notre point de vue par rapport à tout ce qui est priorité et opportunité de développement de l'efficacité énergétique dans notre contexte régional. Bien évidemment, l'objectif de tous les partenaires de ce projet et l'objectif du projet lui-même, c'est la promotion de l'efficacité énergétique, notamment dans le bâtiment et les équipements des appareils consommateurs de l'énergie dans le bâtiment. Et nous voyons qu'il y a des opportunités et la priorité, c'est de profiter de ces opportunités pour donner un coup de pouce et pour faire avancer l'efficacité énergétique et la performance énergétique des bâtiments dans notre contexte régional. Le premier point, on est dans l'ère de la digitalisation, on est dans l'ère de la conception industrie 4.0. Et récemment, on voit qu'il y a beaucoup d'outils numériques, de tout ce qui est pour dresser l'état des lieux de la performance énergétique des bâtiments à temps réel, tout ce qui est collecte de la data et de données à temps réel, analyse, calcul, dimensionnement, évaluation d'impact énergétique, environnemental, économique des projets d'efficacité énergétique. Je pense que la priorité actuellement de la mise à niveau de tous les pays par rapport à ce point est le renforcement de capacité pour la formation sur ces outils numériques et digitales pour donc le renforcement de capacité de tous les acteurs des pays pour leur mise à niveau et pour la promotion de la digitalisation et pour la promotion de l'efficacité énergétique à travers les outils et à travers les outils numériques et digital. Je pense que ce point, elle est très important. Donc, le projet consacre une grande partie des activités du projet sont consacrées au renforcement de capacité. Je pense que d'orienter quelques activités sur tout ce qui est renforcement de capacité en matière de la digitalisation pour l'efficacité énergétique des bâtiments et des équipements sera une opportunité à ne pas rater dans le contexte actuel. La deuxième priorité et aussi une opportunité, c'est le facteur humain. On voit dernièrement, si on parle des 5 dernières années, je parle du contexte marocain, je pense que c'est le contexte de tous les pays de la rive sud du Méditerranée, des pays arabes. On a un grand nombre important des ingénieurs et des techniciens qui s'orientent vers la spécialisation en efficacité énergétique et énergie renouvelable. Et d'après notre retour d'expérience, nous voyons et nous pensons que la formation technique de ces lauréats des écoles et des universités sur le montage technique des projets d'efficacité énergétique, c'est une formation à la hauteur et solide. Néanmoins, on remarque qu'on a peu de compétences en tout ce qui est formation sur la formation des ingénieurs ou plutôt des managers des projets d'efficacité énergétique ou des ingénieurs capables de concevoir des projets d'efficacité énergétique, mais aussi de faire un montage économique et financier avec le calcul de temps de retour, de la valeur nette du projet, ça veut dire des projets orientés marché. Donc là, nous remarquons qu'il y a il y a encore un effort à fournir par rapport à ce point-là. Je vois que le projet meetMED 2, elle a consacré tout un volet sur tout ce qui est la formation à l'accès au financement. Je pense que ça sera opportun d'ajouter dans ce volet-là des formations qui ciblent le renforcement de capacité en tout ce qui est en matière de management des projets d'efficacité énergétique et aussi en matière de gestion financière et économique des projets d'efficacité énergétique et de développer des modules de formation et des formateurs capables de donner ce genre de formation dans notre région. Une autre faiblesse que je vois pour tout ce qui est toujours en relation avec le facteur humain et la formation des cadres et des ingénieurs spécialisés en efficacité énergétique, là aussi la formation je le dis toujours, il y a des ingénieurs qui sont très compétents en matière sur le plan technique des projets, mais tout ce qui est aussi les méthodes d'évaluation de l'impact énergétique des projets d'efficacité énergétique, l'impact énergétique économique et environnemental, là aussi, je pense qu'on a besoin de fournir plus d'efforts par rapport à ça. Actuellement, il y a des méthodes à l'international, des méthodes normalisées, tout ce qui est CMVP, comment évaluer l'impact économique, parce que ça, c'est très important pour convaincre un bailleur de fonds. Donc, il faut bien ficeler un projet sur le plan technique, mais aussi sur le plan économique et impact de ce projet. On sait les indicateurs de performance des projets, c'est la réduction des émissions de gaz à effet de serre, la valeur nette engendrée par ce projet, etc. Donc là aussi, c'est des priorités pour le renforcement de capacité dans notre contexte national et je pense aussi régional. Et je vais terminer par un dernier point, c'est le grand défi de l'harmonisation des normes, des codes et des politiques. Nous avions discuté ça lors du meetMED 1. il y avait des propositions dans ce sens, comment harmoniser les standards, les normes. On sait qu'il y a le contexte climatique diffère d'un pays à l'autre. Et là, comment la mise à niveau de tous les membres et d'harmoniser tout ça. Je donne l'exemple de tout ce qui est étiquetage énergétique et développement des MEPS, des performances énergétiques minimales, des systèmes de refroidissement, des climatiseurs. Donc, ce sont des systèmes, le fonctionnement de ce système et le rendement dépend d'une zone climatique à une autre, d'un contexte climatique à un autre. Le contexte climatique de la rive nord de la Méditerranée, c'est pas le même au sud. On est des climats chauds et du coup, lorsqu'on veut normaliser l'étiquetage et les MEPS, on trouve beaucoup de différences et des difficultés et la nécessité de faire appel à des experts spécialisés avec des études pointues de simulation thermique et de dynamique et de collecte de données climatiques et techniques. Et là aussi, parmi les difficultés qu'on trouve pour l'harmonisation, mais je reste toujours, j'ai exprimé cet avis-là lors de meetMED 1, donc il faut quand même fournir de l'effort aussi pour l'harmonisation de ces normes, de ces codes et de ces politiques d'efficacité énergétique pour que tous les pays membres, partenaires de ce projet, soient sur la même longueur d'onde et une mise à niveau de tous les pays. Donc voilà, j'ai voulu partager avec vous ces 4 points en relation avec les opportunités et les priorités dans notre contexte régional. Et j'exprime toujours la volonté et l'engagement de l'Agence marocaine de l'efficacité énergétique à participer à cette deuxième version de meetMED 2 et de contribuer à la réussite de ce projet. Merci.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Ridwan, for your intervention. Actually, you highlighted a lot of very important points in terms of the priorities that should be taken into consideration. On top of them, there is this topic of harmonization, especially in policies, and focus with the MEPS and the labeling program. I think this is one of the very crucial and at the same time critical point to handle through meetMED 2, and we will try our best to achieve basics of harmonization that allow countries to work together smoothly, and your cooperation and all the colleague cooperation will be very important and highly appreciated to this part of the project. Now, please allow me to move to Mr. Taher Misawi. Mr. Taher, he is the head of the Communication, Training and International Cooperation Directorate in APRO, the Algerian Energy Control Agency. Mr. Misawi is an architect from the Polytechnic School of Architect and Urbanism in Algeria. He is specialized in bioclimatic, and he dedicated himself entirely to energy efficiency in buildings, and particularly the building envelope issues. So Mr. Taher, he started his professional career in design work, like design offices, properties, and then he joined the Research Center for the Development of Renewable Energy there, working on different missions in terms of realizations of projects, management of projects, and research. So Mr. Taher now is the directorate within the APRO, and he is working in ensuring the management of energy efficiency projects in the agency, and he is working as energy auditor and professional trainer. Mr. Taher, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Afla. Merci. Donc, comme mes collègues, je vais parler en français, si vous le permettez. Donc, merci beaucoup pour cette invitation à ce lancement du meetMED 2. C'est qui est très important pour l'agence, pour la PRU. Donc, tout d'abord, je voulais remercier donc MEDENER, le RCREEE et toute l'équipe qui a participé au lancement de ce meeting. Bon, deuxième point, il faut savoir qu'actuellement en Algérie, l'environnement relatif à tout ce qui est efficacité énergétique a énormément changé depuis le meetMED 1. Il y a eu la création depuis le deuxième semestre de 2020 un nouveau ministère de la transition énergétique et des énergies renouvelables qui a mis en place toute une nouvelle stratégie basée sur un axe transversal et de collaboration avec tous les secteurs, qu'ils soient de l'industrie, du transport et notamment du bâtiment. Donc, le programme vise essentiellement à réduire notre consommation intense de gaz, sachant que la problématique est nettement différente au niveau de notre pays. Il est vrai que la problématique diffère entre les différents pays de la Méditerranée, mais il y a certaines similitudes. Notre objectif étant essentiellement de réduire notre consommation de gaz, qui est extrêmement importante actuellement, et se diriger essentiellement vers les énergies renouvelables. Donc effectivement, je vais être assez concis étant donné que nous avons un petit peu dépassé le temps imparti. Donc essentiellement, le meetMED 1 auquel la PRU a participé était essentiellement dirigé sur des analyses et l'établissement de rapports et de comparaisons et de benchmarking dans des différents pays. Aujourd'hui, les conclusions du meetMED 1 vont nous permettre de lancer meetMED 2 et se focaliser essentiellement sur l'efficacité énergétique du bâtiment et d'en sortir avec des projets concrets réalisables sur le terrain. Donc, les priorités pour le meetMED 2 sont simples, c'est d'avoir, bien entendu, des projets phares qu'on puisse étudier et faire des systèmes MRV et avoir des résultats concrets par la suite et qu'on puisse généraliser ensuite. Donc, la PRU attend énormément du projet meetMED 2, justement, notamment pour réduire essentiellement tout ce qui est consommation énergétique liée au chauffage et à la climatisation, vérifier effectivement l'amélioration de tout ce qui est confort thermique des habitations, assister aussi les collectivités locales, leur stratégie, leur politique, essentiellement dans la gestion des équipements publics tels que les écoles. Donc, il y a un programme assez important qui est destiné aux écoles, les mosquées et également pour tout ce qui est éclairage public. Donc, l'une des priorités auxquelles on tient aussi, c'est l'uniformisation éventuellement d'un label énergétique régional propre à la rive sud, donc un label commun sur lequel on peut se baser pour ensuite l'établissement d'étiquettes énergétiques, qui est très important actuellement. Donc, voilà toutes les priorités auxquelles on inspire. Et essentiellement, ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est qu'actuellement, en Algérie, le secteur du bâtiment représente 40% de la consommation d'énergie finale. Donc, il est fort important de réduire cette consommation énergétique. Effectivement, la différence avec d'autres pays, c'est que l'Algérie possède plusieurs zones climatiques et avec vraiment de grandes différences. Donc, instaurer une priorité par zone climatique est l'une de nos priorités également. C'est-à-dire que chaque zone climatique devra avoir un cahier de charge spécifique pour l'établissement, pour tout ce qui est isolation thermique, un cahier de charge spécifique pour tout ce qui est équipement, surtout envers la climatisation. Voilà toutes les problématiques initiales et on attend énormément de cette collaboration. On espère qu'elle sera fructueuse autant que le meetMED 1, étant donné que les résultats sont extrêmement probants et que ça a amené justement la poursuite avec meetMED 2. Voilà, je ne vais pas monopoliser la parole plus longtemps. Je vous remercie de votre attention et je vous rends la parole. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Taher. Very precise.
Ashraf, you're muted, I believe.
Yeah, sorry, maybe I was muted. So I received a request from Mr. Rasmi Hamze in Jordan to give a short intervention about Jordan. Mr. Rasmi, if you would like to intervene, I can give 2 minutes for this. Yeah, Mr. Rasmi. Okay, so then I will conclude. So I will in a quick screening, I will just list some of the priorities. So we've heard that we need to focus on reducing the cooling demand and increasing cooling efficiency, facilitate investors and private sector intervention to support projects, guarantee smooth implementation of renewable energy and energy efficiency projects, capacity building in digitalization for energy efficiency in building and appliances, support personnel capacity development activities in project management and implementation, access to funds to be more facilitated, and the harmonized MEPS and labeling program to be focused on, and support specific projects in energy efficiency in building, especially for building envelopes. So the comments were all noted, and we will try to work on all of these comments in the project. I would like to thank all the panelists for their very valuable intervention, and I hope within the meetMED 2 activities we can attain the most of the priorities at the national level and at the regional level. At the end, I would like to thank the European Commission and all the colleagues at the European Commission and MEDENER for this cooperation and support. And please allow me to give the floor back to Alicia to move to the other session. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ashraf. In fact, it's Roberta Bognotti who will introduce and moderate this session, this second session of overview of the meetMED 2 project. Roberta.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. So good morning, everybody. Once again, welcome to meetMED 2 launching event. And we are running a bit late, so I will try to be very short. Today, I will be responsible for hosting and moderating this session of the event, overview of the meetMED 2 project by looking at the work packages with a special focus on impacts and deliverables. We are today very proud to work on the second phase and most ambitious phase of the meetMED project. And I'm very grateful and honored to have shared this path with such committed and reliable partners such as RCREEE and all the national agencies of MEDENER. Together, we can count on a network of more than 1,000 experts in the energy and environmental fields. Our potential together is unique, and we still have a lot to give to enhance the energy and climate energy transition in the Mediterranean region, as underlined already by both Mr. Graditi and Mr. Mahmoud in their opening remarks. As you all probably know, our cooperation in the first phase of meetMED has led to the creation of the Regional Expert Network, the meetMED REN, composed of more than 70 experts that operate throughout the region on a shared scientific and environmental policy basis. The outcomes of meetMED 1 paved the way for this second phase, focusing on the themes of energy efficiency in the buildings and appliances sectors. And during the setting up of the meetMED 2 project, as already described by Ashraf, we launched and carried out a consultation process with members of both MEDENER and RCREEE to help design a project that would take into account the target country's priorities. So the activities which we are going to present today have been deeply discussed and agreed upon within our networks. But now let's get started. I guess you are eager to meet our team and to get to know more of the project. I'm particularly pleased to introduce the meetMED team, which was formed spontaneously with respect for equality and diversity, and especially gender balance, as you will see. The team is composed of the project manager and 5 work packages leaders who will describe the meetMED 2 in a nutshell. So we have Alicia Tsitsikalis, the project manager. She will be the first speaker, and then 5 speakers responsible for the different work package leader, for the different work packages. And in particular, strategies and policies, work package number 2. Number 3, promote efficient buildings. Number 4, promote efficient appliances. Then work package 5, access to finance. And finally, but very important, communication and dissemination. If you would like to have more information about their biographies and presentation, you can access our websites at meetmed.org, medener.org, and RCREEE.org. But now let me introduce our first panelist, Alicia Tsitsikalis, the project manager. Alicia works at ADEME, the French National Agency for Ecological Transition, member of MEDENER. Alicia is a socio-economist and policy framework analyst responsible at ADEME for bilateral and regional cooperation in Mediterranean countries. So Alicia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roberta. I'm really pleased to take the floor. In my position of project manager of meetMED 2, so this project is a second phase of collaboration between MEDENER and RCREEE that started in 2018 and has given up several outputs and results that we could build on. So this second phase, as we mentioned, will focus on building an appliances sector for contributing to energy transition in the region. As in the first phase, it is implemented by MEDENER and RCREEE and several affiliated entities from both northern and southern shore of the Mediterranean, members of the MEDENER network. And this second phase will last 42 months, and it's still how we build on previous outputs. I will invite you all to have a look to our publications on the website that have different focuses. So I've pointed 3 reports, regional reports with several insights on energy efficiency and renewable energy strategies and policies, energy efficiency in buildings, and energy efficiency for appliances with a focus on air conditioning, which were quite global reports with recommendation, several key reports on national priorities or national market analysis, as for Algeria or Palestine, or several recommendations for regional programs, and key events that were organized for sharing experience and lessons learned between the countries, and finally training packages that were developed. So the several Key challenges and recommendations were drawn, which contribute to the design of the meetMED 2 phase. The building sector, as you know, is one of the largest energy consuming sector in the meetMED target countries, and it represents from 27% up to 40%, as Mr. Moussaoui said, in Algeria, or 40% in Lebanon as well. It also represents, and I want to point that the 22% of the energy savings potential at the regional level, according to a scenario that was established through a collaboration between MEDENER, OME, and ADEME in 2015. So in terms of goals, so the goal of meetMED 2 is to contribute to enhancing energy security while fostering their transition to low carbon economy, contributing to more stable, efficient, competitive, and climate resilient context. So despite diverse backgrounds and characteristics of building stocks in each country and all constraints that were pointed by the panelists before, there is an important and growing demand for equipment and building. And for example, in Algeria, there is almost 10 million residential building, 50% of them being constructed after 2000 in Algeria. And the share of residential grew up during the last 20 years, and due also to the increase of electrical appliance. So these figures is just to show that there is an important challenges and important different background information. But the idea is to work on both levels, the offer and the demand toward more efficient buildings and performant appliances. So that's why we have two main objectives in this project. One, working on the offer, the massive deployment of renewable energy and energy efficiency measures in buildings and appliances sector in the southern accelerates the clean energy transition. And the second key objective is on the demand, public awareness on energy measures, stakes and challenges increases, thereby fostering public and private sectors involvement and in buildings and appliances sector. The target countries, as we said, are namely Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, and Tunisia, as in meetMED 1. So I will not enter again into details of specific context, but I wanted to show you the rationale behind the project. So we have these impact indicators for the two main objectives. And the idea is to really work on several bottlenecks and challenges that were identified, both at regional level, national level, and city and local level. So the idea is to really inspire and take into consideration several targets and several levels of intervention to understand and to better address these challenges. So in terms of regulatory challenges, for instance, we have the implementation of insulation standards, the development of energy efficiency building codes, or the creation of energy labeling system for buildings. Or in terms of regulation, we have mentioned before the MEPS enforcement at the regional level and having some convergence of regulatory framework, which is a big challenge, as Mr. Yusuf noticed. Several technical challenges and technical tools and training were mentioned as a key component and a key challenge also to reach. I will just close my video in order to, because I'm not sure. Up. So in terms of market structuration, it's also a key challenge, because we know that there is high investment required for new production lines, for new equipments, for example, and there is some market resistance to the new regulations and changes. So it's quite important to work on market surveillance and market structuration, and including local manufacturing, of course. the one fourth challenge is the access to finance. We have pointed the high cost of several appliances, the question of the electricity subsidies that increase the payback period, and that it makes difficult to raise funds and have projects that find those funds. So it's important to work on the mobilization of investors in those fields. And finally, awareness. Of course, end users carry the responsibility for the purchase and the use of energy efficient appliances and use of the energy efficient buildings. So indeed, the awareness raising is a key factor for the success. So in order to, once we have identified on these challenges, the idea is to identify energy efficiency measures and increase investment both is in those fields, and there were 4 outputs for that. So one on the enforcement and harmonization of regulation. So through several activities in the work package 2 that were presented, that will be presented in the next in the session by next panelist. There will be several policies and discussions and dialogue regional on several issues for proposing policies to be implemented or to be harmonized together in the 8 countries. A second output, which is addressing the market structuration and the making tools available through the work package 3 and 4 on promotion of efficient buildings and appliances. There will be several projects that will be designed and several tools that and guidelines that will be proposed through these concrete actions that will be on the field, tested and adjusted in few countries in order to potentially replicate that in the more global level. The output 3 is targeting the financing instruments available, so there will be several activities in the work package 5 for that. And we have both in work package 3, 4, and 5 a capacity building strategy, which will be quite extensive and with 2,000 people trained directly as an indicator for these activities. The output 4 finally is on the mobilization and increase of investment. So the objective is to target several, both from institutions, experts and local markets, but also general public with a strategy of communication and awareness raising on energy transition related issues. So the output from the work package 2 is called consultation on strategies and policies. So there will be several tasks that will be presented by the work package leader. Just to mention the task forces on appliances and buildings which will be build on the success of the regional expert network that were composed during meetMED 1 phase, as was specified by Roberta. The output 2, so there are 2 work package with several concrete actions and demo actions specific in several countries, 2 or 3, or for several activities, all the countries in the region. As an example, we can mention the tools for schools or public building renovation that will be proposed in work package 3, or scrapping campaign for air conditioning and energy consuming appliances in work package 4 that will be presented. As I said, the professional training. So the output 3 is to work on the networking and dialogue both at national and regional level for designing bankable projects. And finally, the output 4 is targeting several targets. So both professional markets, banks, and grand public. In terms of structure, so we have a project management team, 2 governance bodies, steering committee, and the advisory board that will meet each several months or each year. And all the work package leaders that will present their work package will enter into details. for each work package. I would like to mention that finally one of the key message and what is the success, the meetMED 2 success could be guaranteed if we really take, if we really succeed in creating synergy with the national projects and programs and regional initiatives that will be done also in these countries, and not repeating or doing redundant activities. So I really want to create these synergies, and that's the purpose also of this launching meeting, to make this project known, and to work with several partners on the coordination and complementarities. So as Mr. Msawi said, that there will be both two messages. The idea is to inspire other countries and take stock of the massive experience and tools and ideas available in the region, but also think about and act through the regional cooperation for implementing more impactful projects. Thank you for your attention, and I let the floor to other panelists.
Thank you very much, Alicia. I hope you all enjoyed this full overview of the project and the message of having coordination among the different stakeholders in the area. I would like to suggest you to type your question in the Q&A section, and then the speaker will answer in the Q&A session after session 3, if we have time enough, of course. Now let's go into more detail about the project's activities with the description of each work package. I would like to kindly ask the panelists to stick to the time schedule because we are running a bit late. So let me now introduce the second speaker, Alessandro Federici, Work Package 2 Leader, Strategies and Policies. Alessandro works at ENEA, the Italian National Agency for Energy, New Technologies and Sustainable Economic Development, member of MEDENER and current presidency and secretariat. Alessandro is a senior researcher. He's head of the Monitoring Laboratory of Energy Efficiency Policies at ENEA's Department for Energy Efficiency, and Italian delegate and representatives in different energy efficiency groups in several international institutions, such as IEA, IPEC, and SATPlan. Alessandro, over to you.
Thank you very much, Roberta, and thanks a lot to all the speakers of the first session. They all remarkably outlined the state of the art and the priorities. Indeed, the general objective of the Work Package 2, of all the project, of course, but in particular of this Work Package is just to deal with barriers and priorities through the sharing of information, data, and experiences, good experiences, and capacity building programs related not only to this work package, but in general to all the results and outcomes of this project, and also from other ongoing projects and initiatives that may support the decision makers in the sectors of buildings and appliances, as well in the monitoring of implemented measures. These three main lines of activities will follow the same path, with a first phase of engagement where all the relevant regional and national stakeholders will be involved. They all will continuously feed the work of the experts involved in the technical working groups, whose outcomes will be periodically presented in regional meetings and the so-called meetMED weeks. And then all the results, all the outcomes, such as guidelines, training modules, databases, etc., will be set within an interactive section of the meetMED website, of course available for all, and after the end of the project also. More specifically, the activities of the work package 2 are organized according to 4 tasks, with a first, let's say, transversal activity where we are going to build a sound environment for the activities of not only this work package. Indeed, the goal is to set up a permanent and high-level international forum of discussion. Then we have 3, let's say, more technical activities about buildings and appliances, whose goal is to provide guidelines and good practices on energy efficiency measures to support decision makers, thus providing a contribution to the development, adjustment, in a word, monitoring of implemented measures. And to this aim, the 4th task of the work package 2 is addressed just to the setup of monitoring system at national level that, with the help of methodologies and quantitative indicators, will allow to assess the impact of the implemented measures, such as, for example, the assessment of energy savings from measures foreseen in the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan. To meet all these ambitious targets, a number of technical working groups will be arranged about specific topics for buildings, building codes, renovation, labeling, training, financing. For appliances, standards, market surveillance, scrapping campaigns, awareness raising, training, financing again. And last but not the least, for monitoring and evaluation concerning indicators, general indicator and specific energy efficiency indicators for buildings and appliances, and energy modeling and specific issues in the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan strategies. All this work, together with the outcomes from other work packages, will be shared and discussed in national and regional meetings, in particular during the so-called meetMED weeks. That is 3 big events, each of them lasting 1 week, where all the stakeholders, experts, decision makers will have the opportunity, hopefully in presence, to interact each other and discuss about relevant issues of buildings, appliances, monitoring, evaluation, and financing also, and this in synergy with the activities of the work package 5. So thanks again to all the experts for all their valuable inputs. It is fundamental. It is a preliminary necessary step for this work package. And of course, any comment, suggestion, input is very welcome and surely helpful for the success of our activities. So I really look forward to interacting with all of you as soon as possible and for all the next years of the meetMED 2 project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alessandro, for your comprehensive presentation of the Work Package 2. Indeed, meetMED activities will continue enhancing dialogue among policymakers, technical experts, IFIs, and I look very much forward to the meetMED weeks. Now I'll leave the floor to our third panelist of the session, Marie-Pierre Meillan, leader of Work Package 3, Promote Energy Efficiency in Buildings. Marie-Pierre is an engineer and economist working at the International Division of ADEME, the French National Agency for Ecological Transition, member of MEDENER. And Marie-Pierre is coordinating international projects on buildings and cities. Marie-Pierre, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I have some trouble to unmute. Sorry. Okay, I hope you can see my screen again.
Yes.
So, hi everyone, thanks Roberta for giving me the floor. I'm really pleased to give you a short overview of the activities run by this work project 3, which aim to develop tools and methodologies to promote energy efficiency in buildings. A few challenges need to be tackled to highly promote energy efficiency in Mediterranean area. How to better understand the drivers of energy consumption in buildings, how to develop easily replicable tools and methodologies adapted to local context. To solve these challenges, Work Package 3 contributors will conduct 7 demo actions from April 2021 till June 2024. 4 national agencies, ADEM, CRES, ENEA, ADEM, and RCREEE will lead the implementation of these activities. All demo actions should be implemented in a minimum of 2 countries, and the targeted countries are listed on the slide: Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco, Palestine, and Tunisia. The results of these demo actions will be spread among the region for several knowledge sharing and capacity building activities, and allow to build bankable, easily replicable projects. I give you later more details on each different demo action. How to describe this work package in few numbers. So 7 demo actions will be implemented by 5 partners in 8 countries. And among the deliverables, at least 2 publications and 3 online tools will be produced. To succeed in implementing the activities of the Work Package 3, the work package will require a high stakeholders engagement and a good collaboration with other work package, and particularly work package 6, communication and dissemination. Work package contributors will also seek synergies with existing projects and programs in the region to allow a high level of tools, guidelines, and trainings dissemination. With this last slide, I'd like to give you a global overview of all the results produced by demo actions and the 3 capacity building activities. The 7 demo actions will produce 3 online tools, which will contribute to spread energy efficiency through digitalization. A barometer platform for buildings, a kind of one-stop shop platform to characterize and compare the performance of a public building or building stock. A regional platform for training and self-certification of buildings, MEDENER, which should allow to strengthen the skills of professionals in the building and real estate sector on the themes of energy transition and sustainable buildings in general. And a simplified tool for schools audit and measures of renovation. The demo actions will also provide technical assistance to develop easily replicable energy efficiency methodologies. In piloting new technologies for improving energy management and thermal comfort through the transfer of invaluable experience gained in Europe on energy services to all participants countries and increase their knowledge base. And in developing solutions for improving water energy nexus for buildings through demonstration projects, running a water energy nexus assessment methodology to entail energy and water improvement solutions. And in improving energy efficiency and thermal comfort in public buildings managed by local authorities through the implementation of innovative solutions to improve thermal comfort in cities and buildings. The work package will also produce at least 2 publications. A study on the potential of district cooling in the South Mediterranean countries, which may contribute to address the air conditioning question raised at the beginning of the first session, and a panorama of solutions for energy efficiency in public buildings. Free capacity buildings activity will also be conducted to contribute to the dissemination of tools, guidelines, and trainings, to develop new trainings models physically and virtually through webinars for professionals and through the implementation of training agreements and study tools of city officers. I thank you for your attention and give the floor back to Roberta.
Thank you very much, Marie-Pierre. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation of Work Package 3. That's indeed really full of activities and demo actions, which will be linked to dissemination actions. I invite you all to type your questions in the Q&A section, and I see already a question related to the presentations and the recorded session. They will be available and you will be able to download our presentations. So let me now introduce the fourth speaker, Sarah Elhak, leader of Work Package 4, Promote Efficient Appliances. Sarah holds 2 master's degrees in electrical engineer and sustainable energy systems. And she's a senior sustainable energy expert and a certified project manager working at RCREEE. Her work focus is on development of sustainable energy systems and increasing the adoption of renewable energies and energy efficiency in the MENA region. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you very much, Roberta. Good morning, everybody. This is Sarah Elhak speaking to you today from RCREEE. I'm really happy to be joining you today to have a very quick introduction about Work Package 4, which will be on the promotion of efficient appliances and developing the market. So in a nutshell, Work Package 4 focuses on the meetMED project main objective, and that is the promotion of the use of energy efficient appliances in the same countries in order to help in the global energy security and contribute to the economical growth. In terms of the timeline of the implementation of the work package, approximately it will take around 35 months, starting from month 3 to month 38 of the project lifetime. And this means that the activity and work package will continue for a span of around 3 years. The main design concept that we have followed was to focus on practical and on-ground implementation, and that's why the work package consists of 2 main pillars, namely demo actions and projects, and capacity development. So the main objective of the work package revolves around promoting the market of efficient appliances, and this will be done through developing of procedures for maps and labels for appliances, implementation of appliances scrapping campaign and associated awareness campaign, capacity building for professionals and public officers, and last but not least, increasing the regional testing capacities and harmonization of maps and labels regionally. So going back to the key findings from the first phase of the project, meetMED 1, it was found that the residential sector consumes around 42% of the total end electricity use in the whole region. That is the Southeast Mediterranean region. And this is just to put more emphasis on what Mr. Misawi and also Alicia said earlier. It was also found that appliances contribute up to around 80% of this total residential consumption, which means that there is a very high potential of reducing the end use of electricity consumption via utilization of efficient appliances and equipment. Findings from the first phase of the project also showed that the comparative labeling is a predominant within the region, while mandatory maps were the most applied tool by the government as an implementation tool. However, there was a big variance in the maturity of implementation between different countries. Going and focusing, having a little bit to zoom into the key challenges identified, it was found that these challenges included the need to put more support on policies and guidelines that would put emphasis on supporting of efficient appliances. Also, we need to implement monitoring, verification, and enforcement programs. And it was also identified that there is a lack on the public awareness towards labeling and standards of appliances. So having all these challenges that were identified previously into our consideration, the design of Work Package 4 was based on two main pillars, first of which was the demo actions. And these were meant to increase the visibility of the energy efficient appliances and also to help in the support in designing guidelines for MEPs and labels. The demo action consists of 3 activities, first of which was appliances scrapping campaign. This included the creation of national task force and linking to existing ones as well that will be working on small size scrapping campaigns and associated awareness campaigns. Second activity will be a feasibility of regional testing center, and this would be a study of a regional testing facility that would be able to test for small power equipment, for example, household appliances, heavy equipment such as motor and transformers, as well as building materials. The third activity would be the promotion of MEPs and labeling with focus on AC, and that's because AC consumes a lot of the residential sector end-use electricity. And the activity will focus on regional manuals for MEP implementation procedures, national MEP program reports, and also a regional report on MEPs and labels implementation. The second pillar of the work package is a professional capacity training, and this would include developing training modules, both virtually and face-to-face, as well as designing of guidelines and brochures for professionals and public officers. The main concept of this training and capacity building would be to cover the gap, knowledge gap that was identified for the professionals in the market. So just to be in time, I would like to share with you quickly the key challenges and opportunities identified that might impact the implementation of the work package. Key challenges identified included the lack of market surveillance and lack of monitoring, reporting, and verification program in almost most of the countries. Also, the relatively high pricing of energy efficient equipment might be a challenge to the implementation in local markets. So, although there are a couple of challenges identified, there are also a number of opportunities that we need to capitalize on, and that might support our implementation of the different activities.
Sorry, I would like to ask you to mute your microphones. Thank you.
So the identified opportunities include increased political support upon the approach of the SDG target deadlines on the 2030. And this means that we are expecting to have a strong governmental support. Also, there is an increased public awareness on the climate change issues, meaning that the public are more readily to go green now. So we need to capitalize on this. And last but not least, there is a technological advance globally in the design of efficient equipment, might help in reduction of the cost of efficient equipment. So that is all from my side on the work package 4. Thank you very much. And of course, I'm really eager and ready to cooperate and receive any question and inquiries later. Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for your excellent presentation of the activities related to efficient appliances that are crucial in our region, together with the efficient buildings, of course. It's now my pleasure to introduce our 5th speaker, Rim Bukina, Deputy Project Manager and Work Package 5 Leader, Access to Finance. Rim works at RCREEE, where she is Head of Sustainable Energy Policies and Member State Support Unit. She's a Project Manager and Senior Sustainable Energy Expert, and she's involved in various projects related to renewable energy and energy efficiency development in the Arab region. Rim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roberta. Good morning. So I will give a brief overview of Work Package 5 related to access to finance and business models that will be conducted in close cooperation with the NME. So as stated by Roberta and Alicia, all the activities planned within meetMED 2 are the continuity of meetMED 1 phase. And also this concern Work Package 5, where all activities are among the of the Mediterranean high-level policy dialogue works conducted within the meetMED 1 phase. Main objective of Work Package 5 activities are to facilitate dialogue and improve existing funds visibility, and to create innovative funding mechanisms, support access to finance, and finally increase awareness and reinforce national and regional knowledge and expertise. And this will automatically lead to the creation of a more sustainable and enabling investment environment in both renewable energy and energy fields around the Mediterranean. So the activities and sub-activities are targeting all South Mediterranean countries, and this include national stakeholders involved in energy efficiency deployment, such as ministry, utilities, energy efficiency agencies, investors, developers, international and national financial institutions, regional and international organizations involved in energy efficiency deployment. And it is important to highlight that the efficient implementation of the planned work is basically linked to the information availability, stakeholder engagement, national endorsement, policies and national stability, and of course, health concerns. So Work Package 5 includes two activities. The first activity is related to financing energy efficiency in building and appliances. And the second activity is related to training and capacity building on financing energy efficiency that is already identified as one of the priorities in the session 1 by countries. For the first activity, it includes financing energy efficiency in building and appliances through the development of business models. And I will focus on this activity in the next slide. The second sub-activity is related to the organization of Mediterranean Sustainable Energy Investment Forums and access to finance roundtable that will be conducted in close cooperation with Work Package 2, as well as ongoing initiative, and where roundtables will be organized to present and discuss best practices, innovative funding mechanisms, as well as recommendations to create business enabling environment for both building and appliances, and the activity will be led by INEA. The second activity is related to knowledge management, awareness raising, and capacity development activities, and it concerns the development of interactive tools and guidelines through the design of a dedicated web tool for the developer and concerned institution to make information related to existing funds, financing scheme, etc. available, and assist user in the project design and implementation. The second task is the deployment of an interactive funding guidelines through the support to countries for access to finance. And all this will be conducted through the organization of dedicated consultation and discussion webinars for the tool design to take into consideration all regional and national stakeholders and banks and financial institutions' needs, and to adapt the tool to their requirement. The second sub-activity is related to the development of dedicated training modules on existing incentives and business models for banks and financing institutions to enhance their knowledge and introduce the new innovative mechanisms and energy efficiency concepts. And we will take into consideration the recommendation of the Moroccan representative. Regarding the focus, so I will tackle the activity related to the elaboration of business models activities, where main steps and sub-activities include the assessment of the state of the art on climate finance and mapping of international and national initiatives. So the activity outputs are basically the organization of national roundtables and the development of financing capability guidebook. The second activity is related to the development of innovative financing scheme and proposal and of necessary reforms, and the outcome will be a report on climate of finance and innovative financing schemes. The third activity is related to the identification of specific projects and technical support to develop business models. So we'll have 10 projects that will be identified and 3 business models that will be developed. And the last and cross-cutting activity is the implementation and organization of capacity development and awareness raising campaigns and planned deliverables, are the organization of 4 capacity development programs in 4 countries, as well as 4 events with financing institutions, local authorities, and private sector, in addition to the organization of national roundtables. It is important also to state that all these activities will be in line and complement to all existing initiatives and programs that will be identified in the implementation phase, and in close cooperation with the rest of meetMED work packages and in accordance with South Mediterranean needs and priorities to ensure an efficient impact and concrete add value. So you are invited to send us all your recommendations to enrich this activity and to make it more fruitful. This is a global overview concerning work package leader. Thank you for your attention, and the floor is yours, Roberta.
Thank you very much, Rim, for the excellent presentation of this important work package. Access to finance is indeed a very relevant part of meetMED 2 project. We will be replicating the successful European experience of sustainable energy investment forums. And I think this is important with the MEDENER, Sustainable Energy Investment Forums. You could have noticed that each work package has a training and capacity building part session in each work package. So finally, I'm going to introduce the last panelist of the session, Noah Gamal, leader of the very important transversal work package that is communication and dissemination. Noah works at RCREEE. She currently holds the position of Director of Operation and Member State Relations. She's a senior executive with over 20 years experience at a national, regional, and international level in government relations, strategic communication, youth development, and human capital management.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, hi, I'm just waiting for the Executive Secretary, Dr. Al-Nadashti, she will join.
Could you please mute your micro? I don't know who is speaking, but yeah, thank you very much. Noha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roberta. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be joining meetMED 2, especially having been part of the success of meetMED 1. Well, work package 6, as Alicia has briefly mentioned, it's where all the fun is happening. It intersects with and relies on and complements all the work packages. So mainly we are here to celebrate all the efforts that are done by everyone involved in the project. What are the objectives of work package 6? Firstly, we are here to disseminate the results of the project to the public, the decision makers, and other interested market actors. We would like to establish a virtual collaboration area for the project, and also to ease decision-making and partnership coordination. Our main deliverables will be, first of all, of course, the communication plan and handbook, but also we would like to have a meetMED identity for all the activities, publications, documents, everything. It needs to cover our identity. We will manage the outreach platforms, including, of course, websites, social media channels, newsletter, you name it. And this is where the fun part, where we are working with all the work packages on capacity development activities and supporting them in outreach activities, trainings, conferences, workshops, whatever they will need to showcase their success. Our target audience, well, internally, we have the project management unit, the steering committee, secretariat, work package leaders, and of course, the communication unit. Missing now only the communication manager and affiliated institutions. Externally, we're targeting the national governments, everyone related to energy, climate, building associations. Also, we're targeting banks, financing institutions, donors, development cooperation agencies, academia, consultants, everyone interested in our topic mainly. And finally, our tools. Like I said, it's mainly for this phase, for this age and everything happening around us. Online platforms are the winner. They will have a huge focus, but also then there are the events, the press releases, communication units, support in beneficiary countries, which we are so lucky to have, our publications, brochures, newsletter, and of course, our network of esteemed experts. Well, once again, this work package is very joyful to work on because it will glue everything together and be a source of celebration to the outcomes of the project. I'm ecstatic to be part of this team, and I wish everyone the best of luck. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Noah, for your brilliant presentation of the communication and dissemination activities in the meetMED 2, which are of paramount importance for the success of the project. We need to increase dissemination and communication to the general public, to the experts, to policymakers, but particularly to pupils and teachers for the future. The action in, for example, I would like to take an example in Work Package 3, the development of a tool for energy audits in the school can be a good example of how all the meetMED activities can have an impact. Training for professionals, and I mean audits in the school and need for interventions. Dissemination among the pupils and teachers, and in general to the general public to be able to understand the energy efficiency principle, and of course the big link with the financial opportunities. Well, we have come to the end of the session. We are late. Thank you all for attending. I hope you have a complete picture of the project, but we would love to hear from you today in the Q&A session, but particularly also later, and please feel free to contact us. I'll leave now the floor to the third session, to the moderator, Florentine Visser, to discuss regional initiatives that could be complementary to meetMED 2. Florentine, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roberta. Like the other moderators, I also don't see myself, so I hope you can hear me. Welcome to this third session on the regional initiatives. My name is Florentine Visser, and I'm very honored to have this invitation to moderate this session here among so many familiar participants and friends. In this session, we will listen to presentations of other regional initiatives with the aim on how forces can be joined to reduce the energy consumption, mainly electricity, and looking at buildings and appliances. This is really needed because we need to reach the zero emission by the mid of this century. This is the aim of all key economic actors in the world. And from my perspective, the EU is taking a leadership there. And I'm also very proud that my country, the Netherlands, is a very active player, considering that we have an energy transition facility as a technical support for our embassies in the region. Especially now, looking at the current situation and beyond the COVID-19 crisis, we have to see how we can build back better and join the EU renovation wave. I hear some background noise. I don't know who is open on the line. But the EU Renovation Wave can be an inspiration and for good initiatives and practices, improving the macroeconomic situation of the countries in a sustainable way. So it also improves the quality of life in citizens. So we start our journey in this session with presenting these other regional initiatives. Like the other presenters, I have to stress also that only a few words. You will have 5 minutes for your presentation, please. So we have some time for questions. And please share with us the focus on the complementarities with the meetMED 2 project. So how the impact can be increased. I'm very pleased to have on board for this session Helen Nassar from the EEPB program, Blanca Moreno Dodson from the Center for Mediterranean Integration. Peter Schelken will stand in for Mr. Bernard Masabo for the Euromed City Network. We have Dr. Radia Sedawi from UNESCO and Dr. Sehir Hamedi from ARENA. We kick off with Helen Nasser. She's advisor at the Program for Energy Efficiency in Buildings, the PEEP program, initiated by French and German governments. Helen coordinates in Morocco and Tunisia, and as an economist, she worked in energy transition challenges, particularly public policy, finance, for energy efficiency in buildings. Also, she has experience in several MENA countries like Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and of course, Morocco and Tunisia. Please, Helen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Florentine. Thank you, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. And I am here indeed on the behalf of the Program for Energy Efficiency in Buildings, which is an initiative of the German and French governments and is being implemented by 3 organizations, by AFD, the French Development Agency, GIZ, the German Agency for International Cooperation, and ADEME, the French Energy Management Agency. We're working under the umbrella of the Global Alliance for Buildings and Construction, but we're not, we're in particularly active also in the Mediterranean region in 2 countries, which are Morocco and Tunisia. I'm in charge of coordinating activities in these 2 countries from on behalf of GIZ. And this is why we're here today. And I'm actually very happy also to see many familiar faces because we have been collaborating in the past, and we're very happy to keep doing this in the context of the meetMED 2 as well now. Just a very brief explication of what is the PEEP approach, what is the Program for Energy Efficiency in Buildings about. It's basically a very unique combination of financing and policy activities. We are joining the forces of the financing institutions to really push the ambition of building code standards in concrete implementation of projects, and thereby give a proof of concept, of innovative energy efficiency measures to show that they really are possible to implement, financially feasible, and improve thermal comfort and energy bills of the users of the buildings later on. At the same time, we combine that with policy advice to not just improve building by building, the building stock, but to give really the frame for the entire sector to move towards energy efficiency and resilience in buildings, and also to provide advice to roll out of concepts that are more of national incentive programs. We've been around already for a couple of years now, and this slide somehow summarizes some of the results that we have achieved. I just want to highlight 2 results that are very dear to me because they're very important, I think, for the region and that are happening in Tunisia and in Morocco. In Tunisia, we are working very closely with our political partner, ANME, Monsieur Fatih Henshi, who was also present earlier today. And we're very happy to have a very good example of how this finance and policy work can be combined in the hospital sector in Tunisia, where AFD is financing the construction and rehabilitation of 2 large hospitals, and GIZ together with With INME and the Ministry of Health is supporting the development of a guide for health establishments in Tunisia, which then can be used not just for those 2 hospitals that are being concretely financed, but also for the pipeline of further health establishments that the Ministry of Health wants to build in the country in the future. So this is a very good example of how from concrete projects we can go to a sector transformation in the long term if we join forces together. And in Morocco, where a political partner we're working with is the Ministry of Housing, but also other institutions that are active in the sector, we have a very nice example from the residential sector. Basically, for the past 2 years, we're in preparation of a large-scale national incentive program that would incentivize real estate developers, both public and private real estate developers, to go actually beyond the minimum energy performance standards for buildings that are already in place in Morocco, and to do this for the social housing and mid-income housing sectors. We've got very, very interesting things to share, and this is what why I'm also would just like to get on with, with where do I see synergies with meetMED 2. I think we have many things to share, and I'd just like to summarize them in those 4 points that I put on the slides, which are about regulation, about access to finance, about alliance building, and about knowledge sharing. As we've heard from so many others that we've always been working together as well, there is so much to be done. There's already a lot of things that were done. But because things do take time, we can really benefit a lot from complementing and joining forces, from complementing our experiences. Just to give one example, also in Tunisia, we worked with UNESCO and KfW under the management, let's put it this way, of INME to put together a building sector mapping that I think none of our institutions individually would have been able to do, but because we had complementary aims and objectives, we did manage to put together this really great mapping of the existing building stock and the energy consumption in those buildings in Tunisia, and which is a basis for future decision making and updating other regulations. I'd also highlight that I think enforcement or sharing experiences of how to enforce building codes is something that we are very happy to share with, what kind of loopholes may exist and what kind of ways there would be also to reinforce capacities of the people that then on the daily basis have to enforce those rules. People in municipalities that are delivering building permits. I think there's many things that we can share based on PEEP trainings we have done and on analysis of legislative frameworks as well. Regarding this aspect of access to finance, as I mentioned just now in those 2 examples from Tunisia and Morocco, there is experience with direct project financing, but also with national incentive programs. And I'm very happy to see in this work package that was just presented by the colleagues from RCREEE that there is a heavy focus on meetMED 2 in access to finance. And we're very happy to share what we already have participate in those roundtables. And happy to go into a detailed discussion on that as well. On the point of alliance building, I think this is a very important point because we are probably all here already somewhat convinced of the necessity of energy efficiency and resilience in buildings, but many people are not yet, or maybe are, but are have not joined forces the way they could. We've seen in our work, also globally, not just in the Mediterranean region, that the sector is really highly fragmented, and that it would really help to create a momentum and to bring people from the entire construction value chain, but also consumer organizations or students. Someone mentioned teachers in schools earlier today. So I think there's really a lot we can do to just increase the crucial mass of people that are behind the energy efficiency in buildings in the MENA region as well. And last but not least, just let me let you know that there is already a lot of information available that we've put together, both from MENA regions, but also from outside, from other people experiences, about cooling measures for buildings, about business models for new construction, especially for the building sector, also about national alliances, how to put together national alliances and how to implement them. We have experiences from that in Morocco and Tunisia as well. And I'd invite you to have a look at that, but I'm also very much available for discussions, and I'm happy to see if there may be questions in the chat as well. That's it from my side. Thank you, Florentine.
Thank you very much, Helen. It's challenging, 5 minutes. I realize that, but because the program delayed somehow. Sorry for that. good to see there is already a connection between programs on financing, what you mentioned with RCREEE. Looking forward to hear from Blanca Morena Dodson, the manager of the Center for Mediterranean Integration, CMI in France, where she sees the connections with the new meetMED 2 program. The CMI is a partnership between World Bank and several authorities in the Mediterranean basin, international financing institutions, and also civil society organizations. Mrs. Blanca is an economist with over 20 years of experience in tax and poverty elimination issues worldwide, and as well in the MENA region. I will leave it here for time reasons. Please, Blanca, go ahead.
Good morning, actually good afternoon, and thank you, Florentine, for your very kind introduction. I am very happy to represent the CMI today at this very interesting event. And you already presented the center, so maybe I will just start by saying that we work as a knowledge exchange platform, but also as a platform for project incubation. So while listening to many of the presentations before me, I could think of the links between the analytical part and our approaches, and at the same time the need for more financing and more investment in the particularly in the southern Mediterranean countries. So we hope that the CMI approach will touch upon those two dimensions. So a few years ago we launched the Mediterranean Forum for Energy and Climate Change, which acts as a forum where policymakers, international institutions, and researchers, etc., can gather and really look together for joint solutions. The time is right now for this forum to focus on the energy transition, and particularly after the European Green Deal announcement, the time is right for Southern and Eastern Mediterranean countries to really rethink their energy approaches. We know that they need a much better balance between green and non-green spending, and that we need well-designed recovery packages, particularly after COVID, that integrate concrete sectoral opportunities. We see the packages that the EU is putting together as a great opportunity to help these countries integrate. But we also see the need to transfer know-how and technologies from the north to the south. In some cases, it could also be from south to north and south to south. But right now, the European Union would be able to accomplish the Green Deal goals much better if it would include the Southern Mediterranean countries in their approach and think of ways to not only help financially together with the international financial institutions such as the World Bank, with some of the projects that would allow Southern Mediterranean countries to catch up and be up to date with the new technologies. You've been talking about efficiency. This will not happen unless there is a transfer of know-how. Also, equally important is the fact that regulations need to be harmonized. A big obstacle to the integration north-south of the energy market is the fact that the regulations are not coherent, and they are not prepared and updated using a regional approach. If countries continue looking at those regulations, only looking at their national initiatives and their national objectives, it would be much more difficult to achieve this Mediterranean energy sector, Mediterranean integration goals. There are a lot of things that are going to happen in the EU that will affect the Southern Mediterranean countries. For example, the carbon border adjustment mechanism, and countries in the south need to be prepared to integrate and to face the obstacles, because this would mean for some of them higher fees and higher taxes that they will have to pay, which could block some of the key sectors that are now currently exporting to the EU, such as iron, steel, petroleum products, and chemicals. So what we advocate in the Center for Mediterranean Integration is really a better integrated approach north-south that takes into account the particularities of the Southern Mediterranean countries that are very rich, as you know, in renewable energies, and could put them to use for buildings, for construction, for industry. But they need the regulations, they need the know-how, they need the transfer, and more importantly, they need to be part of the dialogue with the EU. So given the limitation of time, I don't think I have the opportunity to continue elaborating, but I'm happy to stay connected should you have any questions for me. Thanks again, and we tremendously value the partnership of the European Union, the DG NEAR, the DG Energy, with whom we've been working for years now. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Blanca, and also for keeping the time within the 5 minutes, sharing some interesting ideas with us, like the expansion of the green deals. This would help to generate initiatives also from private sector, because at the end, it's also there where large rollout needs to take place, where governments take facilitating roles. I move directly to Peter Schilken, our next speaker. He's a partner of the Energy Efficient Buildings Project and a senior project manager at the Euromed Cities Network. He also has extensive experience in the EU Commission's energy programs, and he worked closely with several European institutions. Also, for time reason, I skipped the information here. All bios will be shared, so there you can meet the full information. Please, Peter, the floor is yours.
Okay, so can you hear me or?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. So as I'm replacing Bernard, very last minute, I would like to present you very briefly the Efficient Buildings Project. And this is an Interreg MED project which runs since 2016. And the basic activities we have now in the second phase, so it's quite similar to meetMED. We have 2 phases. The first one from 2016 to 2019. And since that, now we are more strategic coordination, communication, and capitalization project. And we promote basically the transfer and the replication of decision-making tools which have been developed by 10 modular projects, so also within the Interreg MED program. And they are dealing with energy efficiency in public buildings. So there's really a lot of synergies you will see with meetMED. So, and we also target basically, which might be a difference to your project, basically local and regional authorities, also regional and local energy agencies. And we are not so much working with other stakeholders. And the synergies we see with in the your work is so that we have set up 6 north-south city partnerships. So we have a partner city from the north shore of the Med Sea and one of the south shore, and they will collaborate on these tools which have been developed and check which one can be implemented in their cities. And then the second important tool is, or activity in our project is capacity building of local and regional authorities. So we will organize training sessions for them. We have also living labs set up, and there's also the opportunity for partners from meetMED to actively participate in these activities, in particular in the capacity building workshops, and we can also promote your workshops through our community. And then there is certainly the option for joint promotion of tools, decision-making tools that have been developed. We've seen that we have done, as the other project as well, tools on financing, and also a second focus was working with schools, and there it was basically more orientated not that much to audits but to awareness raising and behavioral change. And another part of cooperation or synergies, which are not really mentioned on this slide, but which I would like to add, is the policy work we do in our project. We organize debates. We try to set up some recommendations for our national governments. So we do run webinars. And we have annual events. The next one we will organize in June. It's only an online event, but of course you are cordially invited to participate actively in our event, in the exchange of experience sessions and the debates we will organize during this event. So from the previous presentations or from the work packages you would develop in MEDENER, I've seen that we have really options for synergies and cooperation. The only point we are not covering in the efficient buildings community are appliances, but all the rest is also in part of our program. So I think I stick also for the 5 minutes. And of course, I'm here for answering questions.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, within the 5 minutes. Very good. And very interesting to see the connection on the EE building level, the activities that you are working on also with the meetMED 2 program and the offer to promote activities. Then we move to our next speaker. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Radia Sedawi, the Chief of Energy Section in the Climate Change and Natural Resources Sustainability Cluster of the UN Economic Social Commission of West Asia, ESCWA. She also has a long, extensive experience in energy policy and also in energy market development. Please, Radia, can I give the floor to you for your connection with activities of with MEDENER? We cannot hear you yet. I'm not sure if your microphone is muted. Radia?
Yes, let me put the video. Sorry, because
Yes.
I was in an interview right now. And I just finished the interview. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah, thank you very much. Nice to see you, Florentine.
Nice to see you. Please go ahead. As the others, you have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
5 minutes. So you don't need my slide, maybe. So because I was following the very interesting discussion we had when we started the session. And maybe because your email indicated we may have 5 slides to share, but I think I just display them for the sake of the discussion. What I think, based on the discussion and really interesting debate and presentation made by different organizations, I think it's brought to my attention that we need to just think about how we can upscale energy efficiency through regional initiative and collaboration. And given that this year is really particular with the high-level dialogue on energy, where there is a need to upscale actions towards SDG 7 as an enabler for the just transition, I think the issue in the Mediterranean region, which should start with the energy efficiency, which is still an issue. My entry point mostly would be in the finance, because colleagues and member state organizations already presented certain insight and very helpful inputs, which I believe will fit to the process. I would like just to indicate that number one, what is critical in upscaling, it's the investment required. When globally we are talking about 3 times what's expected, as if we see the scenarios from the IEA, but within the region we are slightly or maybe too much behind in terms of the investment coming from the region and coming from other organizations to invest in the energy efficiency, specifically in the building sector. And it's really insignificant compared to the global. We are talking about 2.7%, for example. And if we take the Mediterranean, if I take just how much important to the energy efficiency, we just take how much the building represent in the region, specifically 18% of the Maghreb and 29% of the Mashriq. And from that perspective, what I think that we may need to consolidate our effort is how to align our work as organization with what the countries have made as a target and ambitions in their NDCs, and what they are putting now in certain energy compact and plans toward achieving SDG 7 over 2030, but also over the horizon 2050 for the net zero emissions. And I believe where we have, and as a key element of work, is how to work more importantly on the retrofit of existing building, but also the new building, and also from the financial instruments that are needed to unlock the investment in this sense. From ESCO perspective, if you maybe most of you are aware, we are already working several projects. Some of them are already at the closing stage this year. Specifically, I think that outcome will fit directly to the work that you are doing. Specifically, what I have seen and the certain material and capacity building on a financial business model. I think we have already this done as outcome of our project, which followed the multi-stakeholder engagement at the national level. To name just one of them, it's upscaling energy efficiency in the residential service sector in the Arab region, where basically it's engaged different stakeholders. It did for the first time very comprehensive baseline mapping for two countries, namely Jordan and Tunisia. It provided short-term and long-term strategies on appropriate energy policies for residential and service sectors, and more importantly, that we designed and customized the guidelines and training material to support that. There are also the work that we've done in terms of working with also our partner organization at the national level in order to look at specifically to the maps, and also to adopt and suggest a large-scale implementing scheme for disseminating the high energy efficiency equipment and appliances in the building sector. And we believe that the work that we are doing will feed directly to the process. One important element also that we are doing, and given that we work with the global organizations, but also with the regional and national, well, one of the critical elements that we were looking to building on the knowledge that we have and the collaboration we have with the financial institutions, we developed policy toolkits to unlock the investment in the energy efficiency in the building sector. And this is at the stage of editing, actually. It's involved and financed by the Islamic Development Bank. And the consultation involved the World Bank, institutions in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in Europe, like our colleague in the UNECE and ESCAP and other organizations. And thanks to our colleague from GIZ, who had a really tremendous input that they provided. So before working on that, we look at what our colleague from GIZ have done, and we build on that, look into the policy instruments, such for example, maps, and how to look at the financial instrument that could help us to unlock the investment in the energy efficiency, building on different aspects. And this is just a snapshot of what we are doing. We think that one of the issues, and I will just give a certain element because I believe on the work that we are doing in the energy efficiency and renewable energy, most of them also in the field project, where we try to embed the work that we do in the policy level in a field project like the one we do in renewable energy. But I just give certain insight in terms of recommendation where already organizations highlighted, and I see some of them already in the MAPS 2, phase 2, where I think to achieve our common goal, we need, and to support our member states, we need to increase regional and local integration of goods and services which are associated with energy efficiency. More importantly, how similar to renewable energy, how to work in order to show that the energy efficiency and demonstrate that creates even more jobs that we can imagine at different scales and different value chains. One of the elements that we, when speaking about building the capacity, the MEET's phase 1, and I believe also 2, and other organizations work, have been doing a lot of work in the capacity building. And some of the things that we consider that's needed some work is to look at the value chain, and specifically the financial sector, when one of the elements that's still there from our perspective, it's building the capacity certainly to how to write project proposals, how to be able to unlock investment, but more importantly, how the financial sector have the capacity in order to understand the language that we have in the building, but also in the energy efficiency, because we are talking about multidisciplinary sector. And I think this is what we are coming with, certain recommendations based on international experience and the toolkit that we developed and we will disseminate lately. One of the elements also that I think colleagues spoke about is the data. Basically, the thing that I believe there was a discussion on a regional observatory. Yes? May I continue, Florentine?
Yes, but I also have to ask you to wrap up. Otherwise, there's 4 minutes left.
I finished. This is the last slide. This is the last slide. I think there is reverse knowledge that needs to be created. So all the project that we are doing, when I say reverse knowledge, it means that we need to look at from not only from outside the region, but also within the region, as we are doing in certain of our project. And I think the regional collaboration, but more importantly, multi-stakeholder engagement would be really key. It's not just about energy efficiency in the economic sector, but it's how to achieve on the long-term dimension the net zero emissions. I'm happy to and glad to address any of your questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Radia, and definitely a very important key message to reduce the emissions. And also thanks for mentioning the upscaling for both new and existing buildings, as well as the maps for appliances. And that from your side, you're willing to feed your outcomes into the meetMED tool. This is a nice example for integration. I switch to Dr. Zohair Hamedi from IRENA. He is MENA Program Officer. He also has a very extensive experience in energy transition policy, both in academia and from private sector. Please, Dr. Zohair, the floor is yours. You have also 5 minutes. I hope they allow me to extend it a bit our time slots. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Florentine. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this very important event. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you and to meet some of the colleagues here that are in this webinar. Unfortunately, with this pandemic environment, we're meeting people only virtually. Well, but it's better than nothing, actually. So I will go straight to the point, and I will make a very quick, if you want, presentation of our work on the regional aspects, and especially our work related to our regional engagement in the MENA region. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, it's visible. Thank you.
Okay. So as far as IRENA's engagement in the region is concerned, our main engagement has been taking place with our partners from the League of Arab States and the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, where we have been implementing the Pan-Arab Clean Energy Initiative. The Pan-Arab Clean Energy Initiative, of course, has a number of themes on which it is focusing, and it has a very detailed action plan, which include suitability maps, activities, and we are now actually working on a zoning project with all the 22 Arab countries of the League of Arab States. There is also a theme on financing and risk mitigation tools. This aspect, we already organized a workshop in Beirut in September 2019, where we discussed the de-risking of renewable energy investments in the Arab region. Project facilitation, of course, is related, another theme, which is now going to be more and more linked to our new initiative that we call the Climate Investment Platform, which I will introduce later, and its attached investment forums. Another theme on which we are working is also the VRE grid integration. So on this respect, we also organize a workshop on VRE long-term planning for VRE integration for Arab planners that took place in Amman. And then we also have a stream of work on policy support and how to build enabling policy and regulatory frameworks to enable the deployment of renewable energy technologies at all levels, not only at the large scale level, but also on the distributed level, and including all the policy and regulations that are needed for all end-use sectors, including the buildings sector and appliances. So, for example, this is just a very quick slide on our Avril long-term energy planning workshop that we organized in Amman, where we have addressed the integration of VRE into the long-term planning for the integration of VRE into the grid. But our new initiative and the most recent initiative that we have launched, which is not, of course, within the PACE initiative, but its activities can be also linked to the PACE and to other activities that we could organize with all the stakeholders and partners of the meetMED platform. And these are the investment forums. The investment forums are the operational arm of the climate investment platform. The climate investment platform is a global initiative that was launched in September 2019 during the climate summit in New York. It was launched in partnership between IRENA, the UNDP, C4All, and the GCF. The objective, of course, of this investment platform is to increase the investments in projects and to support projects in order to have and to access funding, and including climate funding, of course. So the implementation of the climate investment platform, or the way IRENA is going to contribute to the implementation of the climate investment platform, is going to be through the organization of investment forums in the 14 sub-regions or sub-regional clusters, global sub-regional clusters. So, for example, the MENA region is divided into 2 sub-regional clusters. So you will have North Africa and the Middle East. Sub-Saharan Africa will be divided into 4 sub-regional clusters like Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Central Africa, and Southern Africa, and etc. So the value of the investment forum is that it's going to be an event where we will address 2 main issues. The first is going to be the enabling policy and regulatory framework, and the second one is going to be matchmaking between project developers and potential investors, which could be international development funds, development organizations, local banks, private banks, international banks. All potential investors are welcome, of course, to register to the platform and to participate to the investment forums. So if we take, for example, and the second aspect is going to be, as I said, the matchmaking. So as far as the first aspect is concerned, like the enabling frameworks for investment, we will address investment for all sorts of projects, including projects that are, addressing, issues on the building sector or transport sector, industry, or any other sector. So all projects, whether at the distributed level or large-scale level, are all invited to come and to participate to these investment forums if they are seeking funding. Of course, the process of will be divided into 3 phases. So there will be a pre-investment forum phase. This is a phase where we will, for the enabling framework, where we will make a kind of scoping of the needs, regulatory needs of the sub-region in every aspect, including the distributed aspect. And by the way, talking about the building sector and the all end-use sectors outside of the large-scale and large-scale generation of electricity sector, the focus now is becoming more and more into the end-use sectors, because this is where we believe that there is a lot of work that can be done, and that renewable energy is not going to be focused, and it should not be focused only on large-scale projects, but also on distributed applications and all the other end-use sectors where renewable energy technologies could be implemented.
Dr. Zahir,
yes?
I'm sorry, I have to ask you to come to a conclusion.
Yes, I'm coming very quickly.
You have a couple of slides remaining.
I'm coming very quickly to it. So the pre-phase is going to be the scoping phase. During the investment forum, we will organize capacity building workshops to address the needs in terms of policy and regulation. And then the post investment forum, this is the phase where we will go on a country basis work to address specific needs. Same thing will be done for projects. So there will be a scoping of projects before the investment forums to identify projects that could be bankable. During the investment forum, we'll make the matchmaking. And then after the investment forum, we'll organize hand-holding activities with specific projects in order to help them improve the bankability of their projects and get funding. And then we also have, when we talk about, you know, the end-use sectors, maybe this is not a regional activity, the Renewables Readiness Assessment Report, which is a comprehensive assessment of the situation on the ground of renewable energy deployment in a given country. But we do address in these reports all the aspects that are related to distributed applications in all sectors, including the building sectors. And we have conducted studies for a number of countries in that respect, Oman and Mauritania in 2015, Egypt in 2018, Lebanon in 2020, Jordan in 2021, and Tunisia is about to be launched very soon. And we are going to start very soon also an RRA for Sudan. And then finally, I just would like to talk a little bit about our publications that are related to innovations on the across the whole power system.
Can I ask you to do this?
And here are some of the publications where we address enabling technologies, business models, market design, and system operation that address all aspects of the power sector, including the distributed applications in the building sectors. So this is I think, where I can conclude very quickly to say that as far as the synergies, we of course be very happy to have the support of all the stakeholders of the MED partners to participate to our PACE activities. Now we are in the process of developing a PACE 2 action plan with RCREEE, and we invite also all stakeholders to register to the CIP platform and to participate to our investment forums, and of course to participate to our on-the-ground workshops when we conduct our RRA studies. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. It's a very interesting presentation, and Irina is very rich in this information, so maybe it's not doable in only 5 minutes. My apologies for being impolite and interrupting. Very good that you mentioned the climate investment platform. Definitely the appropriate financing will help the implementation because otherwise it will be challenging. I conclude this session. My apologies for the time extension. I think for all of us, also South Mediterranean countries, the high importance to embark on this journey of emissions reduction is so important. Some countries do already quite good if you look at absolute numbers of the greenhouse gas emission, but fossil fuel will run out someday, so we have to do more. And therefore, it's really key to share information south-north, north-south, south-south, and to learn from each other. So I'm very happy that the initiatives that are around shared their cooperation opportunities with MEetMED. So together we can have new opportunities by energy transition in buildings and with appliances. Thank you very much. I give the floor to Alicia for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Florentine. Thank you all the panelists. Indeed, I think it was quite rich. All the presentations were quite dense and rich, and I hope we will be able to put online all the presentation and make them available through our website. Unfortunately, we run the time off now, and I suggest to several questions were asked. Indeed, the panelists concerned tried to answer the questions. We're still in contact, and don't hesitate to send us the question. But indeed, we won't have this Q&A session since the time is running out. So I suggest now to have the conclusion session with our three last panelists, last closing words. So first, Mr. Leonidas Kousis, if you're here and if you can take the floor for DG ENER, so the General Directorate of European Commission on Energy.
Yes, hello. Hello to everybody, and I'm very glad to be with you. And I have participated since the beginning of the workshop today, which I would like first of all to congratulate the organizers, because we have heard very, very interesting presentations. We heard today about the interest that has been expressed by representatives of the national agencies, but also from the different stakeholders, international institutions, IRENA, the banks, of working together at regional level in order to enhance our collaboration on tasks and projects and actions regarding the promotion of energy efficiency in the national and regional policies of the region. Speaking on behalf of the European Union, you all are aware of the fact that the European policy strategy is a spearhead of the European strategy is what we call the Green Deal, and this is the peak of our EU policy, a policy which has as an objective to go for net emissions, greenhouse emissions to net zero emissions, greenhouse emissions by 2050. But this is also a policy which does not only have an impact on environment and climate change, it is also a strategy which is a growth strategy, a strategy that will transform our economies and will create new jobs. And this Green Deal, as maybe you all know, is a package of different policies, and the European Union has been very active in the last year of passing a number of different legislative acts having to do with how to better facilitate this pathway to net zero emissions by 2050. It has been mentioned the renovation wave legislation, but we had also other acts that have been developed and put in place. Most recent is the new European Bauhaus, also the climate law, the role of hydrogen, you name it. So the objective is to go towards this target, and the project, the meetMED project, I think it's very well placed and not only timely, but also in helping in acting as a beltway of transmissioning EU policies and best practices also to our neighbors and Southern Mediterranean neighbors in joining together in a number of activities. We had interesting presentations from, as I said before, national agencies. I took note of the points made by the Egyptian representative and also by the League of Arab States, that there is the political decision to place the energy efficiency as a priority, as it is the case everywhere, or in the European Union as well. I took note also of the points made by the Moroccan representative who made very interesting points regarding the necessity of promoting digitalization in the building sector, but also in training engineers and staff to help passing the information that is needed, not only in terms of project implementation, but also in how to reach the financing sector and develop projects that could be financeable. This is a point that has been discussed, and I think that is very much also put as a priority in the meetMED 2 project on how to develop and promote, facilitate the investments in the sector as well. And we have also had a number of interesting ideas of how to reinforce cooperation across the region on this specific sector. I believe that this project is really, from what I have heard with the packages that have been presented by the previous speakers, a very successful and very well developed project that meets the needs that have been identified by the national agencies. And I'm very glad that we have now set up today the basis for working together in the coming years in this specific topic, and in hand with the other stakeholders, with the banks and the other international organizations, aiming at improving the energy efficiency sector in the region, which is, from what we know, the most important of all sectors if we want to achieve by mid-century the almost net zero climate neutrality in the Mediterranean region. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the works of the project in the coming years, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cusis, for this encouragement. I give the floor to Roberta Bognati, Secretary General of MEDENER, for closing words as well.
Thank you very much, Alicia, and thank you very much, of course, Leonidas, for the notes and what you said, also the connection with the EU policy. First of all, I would like to thank all the relevant speakers and the audience for the success of this launching event. I will be very brief in my conclusions given the time constraint. From today's useful presentations and discussion, I would say in the three sessions, we can conclude that MEDENER and RCREEE, with meetMED 2 phase 1 and phase 2 now, have initiated a process that strengthened the collaboration between Mediterranean countries for a clean energy transition in the whole region. The engagement of other stakeholders such as IFIs, regulators, TSOs, DSOs, other regional organizations is crucial for obtaining the three main objectives in the Mediterranean region related to energy and climate change, that are security of supply, affordability, and decarbonization. Further developments of actions to be implemented in the future and coherent with EU policies are related to the green transition, climate resilience, energy, and environment. And I would like to highlight that our organizations that are now very strong and work together very closely can ensure collaboration and dialogue between political and technical institutions. Finally, the smart sector integration, as the president of MEDENER mentioned in his opening remarks, is certainly one of the keys to the success of the green transition. And we are ready to take up the new challenges together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you. Do you hear me? It's okay? Yeah. I'll give the floor to Dr. Margaret Mahmoud for last elements of conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. It is difficult to summarize after Leonidas and Roberta. In fact, they give an excellent conclusion to the entire event. I would just like to thank all the participants, all the attendees, and also the interpretation. And I thank in particular the European Commission for their kind support to the project, and also MEDENER for being, in fact, a close partner during, in fact, since 2018 and even before, through preparations for different activities. I'd like also to seize this opportunity to assure our keenness to continue our strategic partnership with all actors in the field on the Mediterranean and also the European partners. And I'd like to indicate that we would continue working with you all and synergize all our activities so that we have the most positive impact on our countries, and also to ensure that we have a good exchange of knowledge and experience as well as we are mobilizing investments in the way that countries are in fact aspiring to. At the end, thank you, Roberta, thank you, Alicia, thanks to the team for your effort. Thanks also to our participants again and the speakers. It has been very interesting intervention from all the countries or the projects, initiatives, and the agencies. This day has been very rich in content as well as in the insights provided. I look forward for a very fruitful 4 years of action in this project, and I believe we would achieve a lot together, putting our hands with each other. Thank you very much, and let's start the action now.
Thank you very much, Maged.
Thank you very much, all of the panelists and of course all the participants who attend until now the meeting. And let's say that now need to work. Thank you. Bye, everybody.